The other thing that came out of that is the listservs. I got onto the listservs, and I did a little blurb on there about my film.
Would you say what listservs are?
Yeah. Oh, well, listservs are specialty distribution lists. For instance, I found one on urban studies. I found one on service-based learning that, had to do with my film.
And I will also say listservs are just online discussion groups. The group DocuLink is a listserv.
Yeah.
But it turns out that every segment of the American Library Association, in addition to every faculty member, every segment of every field, they all have their own listservs. And most of them can be joined, and you can post to them.
So I went on one of these listservs on service-based learning, which means the kids have to do the thing themselves. For instance, that had to do with my film, where the kids got involved and raised money for a park, and instead of just learning out of books. Well, within minutes, I got a call from the Community Works Journal. They wanted me to write an article about this story, which I have completed, and when that gets published, it will probably go to, who knows, 100,000 teachers across the U.S. who will now be able to press on the link and maybe buy the film.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting. You have to think obliquely. You can't think straight ahead. There's all these different possibilities of publicizing and selling. So the internet is pretty fascinating.
It is. It's really, as one of my things in the background why I wanted to do this show is being laid off from Warner Brothers. I thought I was with society, and I realized how far behind in the internet in just a year with Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter, and there's so many different ones that it's amazing. It's fun, but it's just like growing the speed of light, not even the speed of sound. But it's also opened doors to where I can see, just like with you, that it's for entrepreneurs. We can get the research. If you're a first-time filmmaker and you want to educate, film is such a powerful tool to educate. And with kids now, they're very visual. And to get their attention, like you say, they learn rather than having a talking head. They learn by doing. And that's a much better experience. And with several generations in a visual media having these types of films for the academia, I'm sure professors, I wanted to ask you, how were they receiving? They really want these types of films. Does that help their programs, in teaching, or enhances the program?
Well, I think, well-known distributors, distributors have always sold to academia. And I have always sold documentaries and charged, the 40 to 80% cut to do this. That films have always been used in academia, and more, particularly if the film is teaching. It doesn't have to be, quote, maybe 30 years ago, or they made things called educational films, quote unquote. But luckily those films are no longer being made. But there's so much. So of course that kind of media is used. I think what's new here is not the using of the films, and maybe that's something some people didn't realize, but for people who teach, they know the films have always been used.
Right.
But the new piece is that filmmakers can make the 100% profit, less duplication cost themselves. And not only that, it doesn't take a lot of money to get up and running, and it does not take a lot of time. How much time do you think you spent if you put all your hours together?
I would say a week, if that.
Wow. That's good.
It doesn't take a lot of time. And my paradigm for coaching, if I do it just an hourly coaching, is I feel 10 hours, give or take, of my coaching time. And so it doesn't take, and my fee, what is my fee? I charge what a therapist charge, or business consultant.
Right.
And I have a sliding scale as well. If you go on my website, you can see my exact fees. But if I'm coaching you 10 hours, I give you homework. You do the homework as quickly or as slowly as you want to do it. So if you want to get the whole thing done in a month, then you'll do it in 40 hours over a month, or you can stretch 40 hours over 6 months.
That's such a, the last 5 minutes we have here, I wanted to talk about your website. I went on it last night. You always have some great information each time.
Thank you.
Too. And also what's coming up. You have some classes I think you were talking about. You're not just if you want to kind of promote the classes.
I do. I do. As actually on my website, and I apologize, I have something listed for a fee. And I've made the decision that the next class I teach in Los Angeles, which will probably be in November, and I'm going to be reposting the exact date on my website. It's going to be a free class. And turns out that if you offer a free class, you can do so in some of the beautiful auditoriums of the public libraries. So that's what I'm going to do. I just have to... I've left to reserve the space and so forth and get the exact date. I'm very excited about offering a free class on either the last Saturday in November or the first Saturday in December.
And just for everybody, I just wanted to remind that your website is Think New Film Marketing is the website. If you Google
newfilmmarketing.com.
Yeah, yes. So if you just Google, and I think Google's the best thing that's ever, because you just put in words and it comes up. It's amazing. I fell in love with it last year. But if you do New Film Marketing, Judith has a lot of great, every time there's something new that helps you, and knowledge is what you need to go out if you want to do it yourself first time. I did want to, before we close off a little bit, I had talked about earlier, let's say if someone has a great idea, a synopsis, but they've only shot part of the film, isn't quite completed, they kind of want to create a website or something. I mentioned to you there's a thing called Kickstarter.
Yes.
And I've mentioned this before in my the show I did with about Barack Obama's mother, the documentary filmmakers there, Carolyn Schroeder and all that. They're creating a Kickstarter, which you can get seed money. Would you work, and we talked about this earlier, would you work with someone who's just kind of coming in at that level?
I would.
Or would you prefer someone to finishing a film?
I would, but I do feel that even though in traditional Hollywood the marketing focus group comes first before they even write the script.
Yeah.
I really want the filmmaker, as an artist and filmmaker myself, I want the filmmaker to focus on the work first, and use me insofar as it'll help them get grants, but otherwise it's too early to get involved.
Yeah, that's really but you could still help a little bit on how to market if you have an idea for a story. I mean, if you have a good synopsis or treatment and you know what the story is, you just have to shoot it, But I took another class along with yours that you need to start kind of think of marketing at the moment you're shooting the film. You think of the target audience or the audience or your themes, because that's when you really are still creating a story. A lot of people with documentaries think, well, we do this at, we just put a bunch of film together and put it together. And that's not what it is. It's still a story. So I just wanted to say at the last minute that can people come to you if they have a good soul,
anybody can come to me.
They can shot a film, but they really want to start thinking of the marketing.
Absolutely.
That they can say, well, I have a little bit. I have a website to find seed money with the Kickstarter and the other ones. But can I talk to you about how to market this? And I just want to make sure that when people listen and they feel, gee, okay, now I can look at the specialty and call you or contact you through the website. And again, that's New Film Marketing, and I would recommend that to everybody, that they can talk to you a little bit about a marketing plan for
Absolutely.
on that, even though they're not really finished. They may just started shooting the film. Okay, I just wanted to, as we go down now, and only a couple of seconds left, Judith, thank you so much for coming on. Come on again. There's so much great information. I know that technology changes, and we're always going to need some new information. Linda, thank you so much on your experience. It's very inspiring on what you did, because even if a film sits for a while, it gives us encouragement that we can continue, and that's the main line. People out there, have a great Sunday. I'll be back next Sunday. Take care and enjoy the rest of it.
You're listening to Don't Get Left in the Dust, right here on LA Talk Radio.